Hi, my name's Lance Botel and this is the second video I'm recording to demonstrate some of the new GUIs in the enhanced version of the scroll. One I wanted to show that I missed last time was the inventory. When we open the inventory we now have a larger examine window attached to it. So basically if we hover over an item on the first acquisition of that item, you get the description of it straight away. Thereafter you would have to click on it to update its information. As you can see, if it's a container, which this book is, it will come up with a single click to tell you if there's anything inside it. You can also just double click as normal to open it and see its contents. Switching between characters, we can carry on selecting items, getting an immediate update on the right hand side.
Yes.
Later on in the game, when you have armor or weapons and you're at a store, you can actually click on an item and it will put up the item's description here. If you do so from a store, the store also has a similar attached examine panel. You will see the contents compared between what you currently own and what you're considering buying. That's quite a good bonus to be able to see that direct comparison in one or two GUIs. Another GUI I wanted to show you was the one in the top left hand corner. If you hover over it for the first time, it brings up an information about that GUI. However, if you ever want to bring it up again, you can either, if you want to move it, you can right click to show the instructions or left click on the top bar to move it. It's basically there to help in a number of situations. The first time you hover, or as you hover over it after the first time, you get the characters' names hover above the head in case you wanted to find out where they were. This is also useful in a large area where there is plenty of NPCs. Just hovering in the box brings up all the NPCs' names. Hopefully I can show you that in a moment in the village. Another helpful utility are these two buttons here. If, for instance, you want to just keep all your characters in one place, you just
stop now.
Left click on the stand your ground, and whoever you're currently controlling, you can just move as per normal. If you want them to follow you again,
you'll follow me,
just left click in the follow all. So it's a quick stop and start for characters following. AI has a bearing on this, so for instance, the moment AI is on, if you turn AI off,
rule information updated.
All the AI is now turned off, but you can actually now, for instance, control every single one individually without it affecting any of the others following. I've just walked into the trigger for the background, so we can read. You can read information there. Click on the box to bring up information on the latest journal entry as well. So if I wanted to now bring everybody back to me in following, I can still click on the follow command even with the AI off, but there are certain advantages to having the AI on. For instance, when the AI is on, you can also right click in that box and they will all jump to you. That's useful for helping characters who may get stuck in an environment, or if you've navigated beyond a trap and you want to save time and just click them all to you, you've also bring those around the trap that you've carefully managed previously. Okay, I will pause it there and I'll take you to the village. Just before we go to the village, I wanted to show you this new GUI as well, which is one you will have offered to you after an encounter with a character called Vol. These are, if you're playing the first background, you will have this offered to you upon character creation. If you're playing the second background, this happens shortly into the game. What you have here is an automatic gift. If you click on it, it tells you what that does. It basically means your main character will always recover after a combat if the party survives. Thereafter, you can select another one of these four, or abandon the choice of another gift if you don't want to take one at all. According to how you might want to set up your game, you would choose one of these at this point. Companion Protector is similar to the Party Survivor in that if you survive or any of the other companions survive, any that have fallen will revive after combat. So that's quite a useful one if you're familiar with that style of gameplay, which isn't involving hard death where you would actually end up having to raise the PCs yourself. That does happen. If you don't choose Companion Protector, all companion deaths without that will be permanent and would require a raised dead or some form of NPC interaction to overcome. If you don't choose that one, you have a choice of something like Foresight, which allows you to turn the fog of war on and off on a map, or you can have something called Rapid Recovery, which is a hit point recovery if you're not too tired, or if you wanted to play hardcore without any hardcore death without any penalty, you can choose the No Fear of Death, which means your PCs, when they die, do not suffer an XP penalty, which is the case in every situation of death unless you have this particular feat. So even if you have Companion Protector, which you can only choose one, it means you would suffer an XP penalty if they are revived. There is a way around that with life essences, but I'll let you learn that as you play the game. So for the time being, we'll choose the Foresight to do with the map, which I will demonstrate.
All information updated.
So if I open the map now, you'll see we have an additional Fog of War toggle, which I can now turn the Fog of War to semi or completely off to reveal the entire map. I personally prefer playing it with Fog of War, so I leave it on, and I probably wouldn't have chosen that gift, but the choice is yours. To have the fog removed, you would then just continue walking and it with the map open, so it reveals the land underneath. Later on, you can in fact get a skill which allows you to continue with the map closed, and the fog of war will also continue to disappear, but that's an advanced feat which you won't have the option of immediately in this from the start. Okay, for now I will hold there and we'll go to the village. Okay, welcome back. Here we are in the village, and you can see all the market vendors are out and about, as are some villagers. What I wanted to show you here though was what happens when you talk to a merchant. Because this is the first time, we get a little bit of a conversation, but I'll just ask him what he's got for sale. And there I can show you the way the vendor's inventory displays. Again, we can click on the different individual items and you get a description of it, and as you can see at the moment we've got no comparable item equipped. If for example we were on armour and we clicked on high boots, if we had any boots on, this would be able to give you a direct comparison between the two. Again, quite helpful for people who like to see how they can improve their items. In this case we get a bit more conversation to draw the story along, which I'll just skip through. Nothing, thanks. Okay. So another thing I wanted to show you was on the journal you have a bestiary, which is basically every type of creature you will encounter in the scroll will have some kind of information that may give you additional advantages for combat. A lot of the categories are already filled, so for instance animal has the various subdirectories of domestic, wild, vermin and dire. Monster, on the other hand, has no entries at the moment because you haven't met any monsters. The same with outsiders, the same with undead. So as you encounter these creatures, you will get an updated bestiary entry which you can read about. Another good thing that's improved with the latest enhanced edition is if you go to the notes section, notes will automatically be added here. So for instance, one entry has already been given that says game difficulty settings have been updated, so we can check them out to alter them to the style you want to play. Althea has its own difficulty settings that have been fixed for certain situations. Check them out to see which one suits you. An example of the notes updating: if you click on the craftsman and ask him to, how do I do this
journal
with the
notes updated?
You hear the journal notes updated. So it's just basically a conversation finish. I click on read new journal notes and it tells you how to repair a dead weapon, because in this game your weapons can degrade. You can overcome that in other ways, but I'll leave you that to discover. So if we also now wander down this way in the village, I'll take you round to where there's a creature which will actually update the bestiary.
Bestiary updated.
There we go. So this is what happens. This is a friendly beast. It's an Empire Guardian. But if I open the journal now and go to the bestiary and scroll down, we can click on the monster entry or construct, and there we can read a bit about it. Some creatures will have more information and give you more in the way of additional game help than others, but feel free to read that as and when required. So bear this in mind when you look at the journal. You've got the improved quest system, you have the completed quests when completed, you have the bestiary system, and you have the note system. So again, idea, journal, complete, showing it. Thanks very much.